All right, well, last time the clutch or something has seized up in this tractor. And we also left with the 9N stuck. So I'm gonna have to go get the truck. We'll drag this back. We'll hook a chain to the front of it, turn it, and then just drag it back over to where we can work on it easier. And we'll have to pull that 9N out, and then we'll dig into this and see what we can find. Well, I was going to the track that time. All right, well, my uncle's tractor's sitting here. Not sure if the battery is charged, but we're gonna see if this tractor starts to pull that tractor out, rather than me trying to wedge the truck in through here and then bounce around back through there to pull that tractor out. So let's see if she fires. Oh yeah, this is kind of a cobbled together tractor too. Right, well, we messed around with that for a few minutes. We can't get it to do anything. Not sure if the battery's charged, not sure if there's something wrong with the switch, not sure if there's something wrong with the actual tractor, but anyways, that one's not mine, so I'm not entirely sure. So I think we're just going to hook onto the front axle of this tractor and pull gently, and it should pop up out of there. It's just hung up pretty good, but it's rather light, so hopefully we don't break anything. All right, well, that was easy. We'll just drive that back. And then we'll go tear into the Oliver and see what we can find. We're really hoping it's a bearing, but we'll get tore into it and see. All right, well, it's the next day and we're back here at the oc3. It did rain quite hard this morning, so it's afternoon now, but as you can see from all the puddles. But anyways, we're gonna get a start on this and dig into it and see what went on it. So Victor should be here any minute and we'll get digging in. All right, Victor's here. Got to get the battery out of the way and start to dig in. He cleverly put a zip tie on those two that go together because all the wires here are the same color.
I did not think that was coming off there.
A little rusty, but glad it came. That one may not be so good. Actually, that one doesn't have to come off, does it? I thought it might just pull out from under it. Oh no, it does. Of course it does. That may be a candidate for a grinder.
Maybe.
So that battery cover is just on this cover that covers the shaft that goes through there with the U-joint. So he's just going to take that cover off and leave those covers attached together and not mess with those rusty looking bolts. Good plan. Maybe. Looks like there might be a nut on the other side. I hope.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Everything's down there now.
Perfect. Perfect storage area.
I'm doing pretty good with catching nuts today.
Dropped a couple nuts, but that's all right. We have a magnet in the truck. We'll find them after. Actually, worst case, it's just a little bolt goes through there, so we should have replacements.
See, that bolt doesn't actually need to be tight.
No.
No, it's just got tight spots. There's a difference.
Yep. It wasn't tight, but it has tight spots. And there's the drive shaft. Let's hang it there. So what we're trying to do is get under this bell housing here to check the bearings, check the throwout bearing. We're hoping that that's what seized up. And of course everything here is also attached to the bell housing. So, start taking stuff off there and see if we can't open it up. Well, let's pull the cotter key out of the drive shaft there. And just trying to gently get it off there. Do you want a bigger hammer?
Potentially.
I may go grab the bigger hammer, because we'll have to be a little gentler with it. So he's going to pull the cotter key out of the back one, because the slip yoke just doesn't seem to want to slip. So hopefully something will give. And more hammer. Oh, we have movement. This will be where it falls and hits Vic in the shin. Perfect. And that out of the way for now.
Cute little drive shaft.
I know, it's adorable, isn't it? Goofy looking U-joints in it. And Vic just pulled the fuel tank off there, which is just a couple bolts in the fuel line.
That is equally as ignorant.
Of course, they're bolts. That'll be fun to get a wrench up into.
Yeah, these motors were designed to run a sawmill or something. That's why they have this goofy style clutch on them.
Oh yeah.
So it's an industrial application. So that's why I was figuring worst case. We could do that.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that's supposed to happen. There's probably supposed to be a cotter pin or something that holds that together.
Well, we're gonna have to look into that when we put it back together.
Probably a couple of these should be tight.
Think so?
Potentially.
That had a little bit of pressure on it. I mean, it held together this long, right? housing out and see what we're looking at.
I'm gonna take that clutch pedal off because it's just gonna be a pain right in my baruki.
Yep, no, I agree.
There's 3/4 on the track right there. Do you want to see if that's the right size?
Yep. It is.
We Caroline.
Ba, ba, ba.
Lily stick.
Hammer. Oh, that bolt wasn't going to fall out of there anyways.
No, it did.
No, it did.
Take this off.
Well, let's take that off. Well, Victor just pulled the shaft out of the bell housing and pulled it through so the bell housing will come up. So that was easier. And oh, look at that. There's some mouse nest in there. Oh, some sort of schmoo down in there.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna have to clean that out too. Oh. So we're thinking it was the bearing. Yep. Well, that's easy enough to fix. Also, good thing we took it apart because it's right full of mouse house. So we're gonna pull all that crap out of it, clean it up good. The clutch does not look disintegrated, so that saved us. Anyways, yeah, we'll pull these bearings out, we'll go get some new bearings, and we'll clean out the mouse house and clean it up before we put it back together. All right, well, it's 2 weeks later. It's gotten quite a bit colder out, but anyways, still nice weather today. It's a little bit drizzly, but we're going to work through it. And finally, the bearing has come for that. Now, we're just really hoping it's the right bearing. Otherwise, it's going to make for a sad day. But anyways, let's see what it looks like. All right, old bearing on the right, new bearing on the left. They look the same to me. So, yep, they're the same size, same inside dimension by the feel. My hand's not a micrometer, but I'd say it's the right one. It's even the same make. So anyways, let's get that thrown in the old girl and get this thing back together. Do a little bit of extra work to it. We have the rebuild kit for the carburetor came, so we might as well rebuild that properly while we're at it as well. And yeah, so let's do that. And currently just knocking the mouse house out of it. Much more cleaner. Victor says that was probably 50% of the problem. No room for it to move.
Well, technically the throw bearing, the throw bearing is supposed to just kind of free float in there.
Uh-huh. And it was not.
So if it wasn't free floating, it was getting constantly held against the clutch.
Exactly. So this is the old one. We had to pull it off because obviously it was pressed on there. So I was going to clean that up with a little bit of sandpaper, and then we'll press the new one on there. Yep, turns a lot better than the old one does. Very gently, just give a little tap on each side around. It's sliding down there nice, so we'll get that seated. Right, just did the old socket trick and tapped that down. Looks good in there. Right, now we've got to put the bell housing back on here so that we can get the shaft shoved in there. And Victor's immaturity is coming through. And get the gauges mounted back on.
Out.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, man. Oh, there's my 9/16.
We'll go around those and, yeah, exactly. We'll go around those and tighten them properly, but for now, it is on there. That bolt is very obnoxiously placed. And we can't find our 9/16 ratchet wrench. So, do like the old boys used to do, and just slowly but surely, I guess. So, this is where I'll be for the next 15 minutes. Okay, got that in.
Collect.
Perfect. Just wrestle the clutch back into place here.
Suppose I should do it. The last guy didn't put the cotter pin back in that.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt, right? At least that way it's not going to fall off.
It'll stop eventually.
That's right.
Next thing you know. Where's my shaft?
There it is. And you slide your shaft in the hole, line her up.
I wonder why that's annoying when you're fighting a transmission attached to it.
Yeah, I could definitely see why that would be irritating. So, we got to press that bearing in there. Just gently tap that in.
There she goes.
Perfect. Beautiful. And that's in. Now we just got to put the cover back on and bolt it over top of the bearing. There's that. And we'll get those bolts in. And that pin was missing the cotter key down there. We have our handy dandy cotter key kit. So we'll put that in. And get that tiny drive shaft back on. Maybe the slip yoke wants to slip a little bit better this time. Perfect, that's on.
Remember when you stuck that bolt back in there and you're wondering why it was so freaking long?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Remember what I did? Got a little premature on that one, but no problem. We'll pull it back out. Oh, right. Got that in there properly. Got the one at the back. Just got to tighten them up, because now that makes that way easier to get the wrench into. I'm sure we have a socket of that size, but, you know, that's all the way over in the truck.
So you have to climb back over the track, go look for it.
Oh, I know. It's way easier just to use this.
Way easier to smash my knuckles.
That's right. Might as well. It's all part of the fun. Nice.
Felt cute, might as well.
Might as well. So once it gets that in, we have one more on this side to do. All right, I had to give him a hand with that one. That was a pain in the butt, but we got it on there. Teamwork. Right, just wrestle this tank back into place. Perfect. Oh. Get that bolted in and hooked up. Right, we drained the gas. We just put some fresh gas in it. Gonna clean out the sediment bowl because yummy. So wipe that out with a rag. Get back here. Wipe that out with a rag and put it back together. Right, clean enough to take a shot out of now. I mean, I wouldn't, but up to you. Anyways, let's put that back on. We can do this one-handed. Perfect. Right, putting the bolts back on there. He already did the one on this side when I was cleaning out the sediment bowl. Got that on there with the choke cable. Gotta tighten them both up. Beautiful. And we'll throw the battery back on there. And Victor's pulling off the carburetor so we can put the proper seals in it, gaskets rather. So you've seen us take that off before. And taking the carburetor apart again. Again, same thing you saw us do the first time. We're just gonna put the proper gaskets in it so it seals better. And first gasket is in. And put the needle valve back in. It's a good way to start with these, if you don't know, is you just crank it all the way down, then you turn it off 1.5 to 2 turns. And then that's enough to make it run, and you can do your adjustment from there if it needs it.
Don't lose count.
And don't lose count. There, give that a shot. And just jamming the nut in there to hopefully catch the stud. Perfect.
Delicate work.
And he's got it. Perfect, that should work. And got the second gasket in there. No, so far so good.
I mean, that one bolt wasn't even touching, so.
And just tightening it up. Get everything hooked back up, and we'll see how she wants to run this time.
Click. Click.
Classy. Turn up the fuel line, then we'll turn the fuel on. Victor, turn the fuel on there. Oh, so we did finger tighten the fuel line onto the sediment bowl, but apparently we should tighten it up with tools. Perfect.
Suppose I should hook the throttle back up.
I mean, that would make things a little easier, sure. You could stand over here and run it by hand, but
You're just getting picky now.
yeah, I know. That'll happen. I did get a rain flap for the exhaust, so we'll throw that up on there. And then we'll tighten that on. Right, perfect. That'll be a lot better. Before we get too carried away, we're going to tighten the tracks up. Before we get it started, I get all excited and take into the woods and roll another track off of it. Huh.
What happened?
And that actually did break loose. This one's not wanting to move. So anyways, this is the jam nut. Once you loosen that off, this is supposed to turn this whole threaded rod, which pushes this out and tightens the track up. A little bit more difficult than the nowadays when it's a grease gun that tightens it up, but I mean, it's a good system, works. Not turning. Bigger pipe wrench. There you go. Just needed a bigger foot.
Should have been paying attention to how far you moved it.
It's moved a little bit. So we'll go a little bit more. It is moving a good bit. I'd say that's good to start with. Let's try that. We do want a bit of a slack in there. And hopefully these springs work, so it should be fine anyways. Tighten up the jam nut and go to the other side. And we'll see if this one wants to break off here too. Huh. Been fighting for this one, or with this one, for like 15 20 minutes here, but I think it's at the end of its adjustment, or Victor thinks it's at the end of its adjustment. So the other side, the tracks, the chains and sprockets were redone at some point. These ones are getting pretty worn, so they're gonna have to be redone at some point. But right now, I think for all we do with it, we'll just leave it, and if it becomes a problem, then we'll have to take the track off and we'll have to get a longer bolt and then go from there. But for now, we're not going to worry about it. So we're just going to make it up as we go along. Right, so ideally, this should start. In theory. Well, it started.
That's why you need a rain cam.
That is exactly why you need a rain cam. So what Victor wiggled was this wire there was a little bit loose. Wiggled that and she fired right up. Spit some schmoo out of the exhaust there, because that's what happens when you don't have a rain cap. Water gets down in there. So anyways, good that that cleaned out. But yeah, it is running. We'll let it warm up for a few minutes. Victor's just doing some adjustments to the carburetor to make it run a little smoother. Then drive it around a little bit and see how it runs. All right, first test. Can we kick the clutch in without it stalling? Well, that's a good sign. We're gonna have to zip tie this wire though. That cable is gonna be a pain in the butt. So we'll get something on there, zip tie or wire it somewhere out of the way for now, and then we'll see if it wants to move. All right, we zip tied that cable up out of the way there. Let's see if it wants to move. And we're back in business. All right, well, we're back in action, but we're still doing some spitting and sputtering there. So Victor's doing some looking here, and he doesn't believe that the back cylinder is firing. He doesn't think the back spark plug's doing anything. So we're going to look into that and see if we can get it running smoother. Well, Victor's going to take the plug out. He believes it might just be a fouled plug. Well, he's hoping it's just a fouled plug, so we'll get it out and have a look. Oh, the plug's not fouled. It wasn't firing at all. So I guess we'll have to look into that. Okay, so we did just pull it out. We put it in the end of the wire. We rolled it over up against a grounded chunk of metal. The spark plug is sparking. We're not entirely sure what. So he's hoping that maybe there was just a chunk of crap in the spark plug and it wasn't able to spark. Or maybe that cylinder got loaded up too much with fuel before we adjusted the carburetor correctly and it was able to unflood itself. But we're going to put it back together and we'll see what it runs like now anyways. All right, well, we put it back together and it seems to be running fine now. I did take it for another little spin there, just around the circle. We were parked over there. I went out and around the truck and out over through there. Came back over here. And did some steering, went up and down some little hills and stuff. It was fine, didn't do any spitting and sputtering. So yeah, I'd say for now that's fixed. So in the next video, we'll take it for a little drive back through the woods and stuff and maybe try hooking onto a log and see how it does dragging some logs. Maybe we'll compare it to the 9N dragging logs at some point too. But anyways, that's it for now. So thanks for watching.